Regardless of the crafty hobby that we love or have loved, hobbies often work a little bit like a romantic relationship. I know you're probably thinking to yourself, Justine, what are you talking about? But stick with me for a minute to see if your hobby is going to stand the test of time or whether or not it might have been a waste of money. Hey everyone, my name is Justine and I'm here to help you refuel your creative side by helping you fall in love with your craft supplies and your creative space again. All while finding joy and happiness in the creative process to help you create amazing projects that fulfill your soul, and a cool twist if you're a card maker like myself, you can pass that on to others. So let's take a walk down memory lane when it comes to our hobby. When we're first introduced to our hobby, we just want more and more and more. Everything is interesting and fascinating, and we just want to learn all we can about it. We just want to be around our hobby all the time. For me, this was heat embossing. I was fascinated by it and couldn't get enough. Now, the more layers of a person a hobby that we sort of peel back like an onion, the more we get to see, and it can be a little bit overwhelming at times. You see all these different techniques and things that you can do and all these supplies that you might need to have. And so there are some moments where we get a little bit scared and we're not sure if we're going to continue on with this. We want to try all the techniques, but we have to get to know each part slowly in order to start to see the whole person or the whole hobby. And not only that, we can't unlock certain parts of our hobby until we get past others. Similar as when we're in a relationship, we're not going to get to that crazy deep stuff until we've uncovered the basics first. We've built that foundation of trust. Now, once we've been together for a while, we might start to uncover a few little quirks. Maybe there are a few things we actually don't enjoy about this hobby, but we've already invested time and money into it. We're not going to just toss it away because there's one thing or two things we don't like. For me, this was any sort of time-consuming coloring, watercoloring, working with acrylic paints, and anything with a fringe. And at this point, I'm pretty sure we can all relate to a hobby that we've put aside and never looked at again. But for those hobbies that continue to putter along, this is where we start really investing. We might replace our acrylic block for a stamping tool, or we might upgrade our paintbrushes to something a little bit more fancy. Or maybe we've been cutting this whole time with an X-Acto knife and now we invest in our Cricut machine. All of these things give us little boosts of happiness along the way and keep us going and being creative. But sometimes these things can be a little bit short-lived, especially as time goes on. Now, if we make it to the serious phase of our relationship with our hobby, we've probably invested in more things we could possibly ever use. We're still being creative, but there's a lot more to it now. You have to find a place for everything. There's a lot of organizing and sorting and maybe cataloging, fixing problems, finding solutions, and making up again. There's maybe techniques that we still have yet to discover that give us that little spark back in our relationship. There are good times and there are bad times, of course. There are phases when we're so creative and phases where we don't even walk into our creative space. Now, this is either the time where you're gonna fall out of love with crafting, or you're gonna have to get to know each other again in a new way. And that's with everything that you bring to the table and what crafting brings to you. The good things, the things that might frustrate you, the things that you realize that, hey, that's not my thing, or I'm actually really good at this. Your strengths, your weaknesses, your good habits, your bad habits. So if you're in this phase right now, and I hope that you're choosing, of course, to fall back in love with your creativity again, you're in the right place. So 2022 is gonna be all about falling in love with our stashes again, getting the most out of what we have, setting our space up for creative success, and of course, rediscovering why we fell in love with this hobby in the first place. Now let's finally get back to the joy of creating again, and let's break up with that constant hamster wheel of collecting, organizing, sorting, cleaning, crafting, and repeat hamster wheel. I know, I can't wait to begin with you.